It seems like there's so many podcasts out there, from celebrities, athletes, and musicians all starting their own shows. Is it too late for you to launch your own show in 2025? Well, we're going to look at the latest data about podcast listenership, audience trends, and what you can do in 2025 to start or grow your show and set yourself apart. And I'll show you how I launched a video podcast less than a year ago, and we have almost 2,000 subscribers on YouTube and crossed 220,000 audio-only downloads just in the last year. So here are the 5 reasons why no, it is not too late for you to start your own podcast. I'll put a link to this Podmatch report down in the video description, but you'll see the first thing to notice is that listenership is very high. In 2025, there's expected to be hundreds of millions of podcast listeners around the world, and that's a 7% increase year over year. Plus, there's been lots of reporting that more and more people are watching podcasts, especially on YouTube and Spotify. So much so that Spotify and YouTube are making special efforts specifically to highlight podcasts, especially ones with video on their platforms. More on that in a second, but Spotify also recently launched even more tools to help podcasters get in front of more people and even monetize their content with the new Spotify Partner Program. Spotify lets you now add video clips to promote your episodes, even custom thumbnails, and more. If you want to see all the new features made for Spotify for creators, check out this video right up here. And reason number 2, competition is actually down. I know it may seem like lots of celebrities have these big podcasts and there's millions of people listening to those, but in that middle ground and even smaller podcasters, the success rate for most podcasters is actually pretty low. There's an extremely high failure rate and not very clear success paths. You can see here in the data that only 44% of podcasts launched will reach 8 episodes and less than 10% at 50. If you can get to 100 episodes, you're in the top 4.8 of podcasts that have launched. So that means if you launch a podcast in 2025 and can get to publishing at least 100 episodes, you're in the top 4.8% of all podcasts. And you'll also see the actively established podcasts, meaning podcasts that are consistently posting, actually changed year over year. Only 6% of independent podcasters are considered actively established, yet they account for 95% of total podcast listenership. So being consistent long-term automatically gives you a huge advantage, even starting in 2025. And number 3, there are still big names launching podcasts this year. Chrissy Teigen announced that her new podcast will be launched on January 9th. And the Smartless podcast is actually turning into a network where they'll be launching multiple shows. You see celebrities launching shows like Ted Danson. So the landscape for launching a podcast still in 2025 is ripe for new shows, especially if you have something to say and you can bring value to your audience, whether listening or watching. Number 4, why you should launch a podcast in 2025. There's still huge buzz just around podcasts in general. You'll see the overall industry buzz, podcast, that word, is still trending at 88% on search engines. People are searching for podcasts on the web. Podcasts are being highlighted in apps like Spotify. And YouTube as well has a dedicated tab in their app on website specifically for podcasts, meaning it could be easier to get highlighted when your content is marked as a podcast specifically. By the way, if you want to learn how you can upload your videos to your YouTube channel and mark it specifically as a podcast, I did an entire video on that as well. You can check it out above. But the bottom line is podcasts are still trending. It's still a growing medium, even though it's widely popular, and 2025 is a great time for you to start. Which brings us to reason number 5. Video has made podcasting even more discoverable and accessible, and that's how you should launch, with video. Multiple reports are talking about YouTube's dominance in podcasting specifically, and research from Edison Podcast Metrics actually shows YouTube as the most often app used to listen to podcasts. People can start a podcast on YouTube, lock their phone screen, or just minimize the window, and they're listening to your show in the background. And of the top 3 platforms, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, the top 2, YouTube and Spotify, offer video natively. So you can watch a podcast in YouTube and in Spotify. You can actually upload your entire video episodes, which is what I do for Primary Technology, my tech podcast, so that when people click play, they can watch my podcast right here in Spotify as well. And if they swipe to go home or close the app, they can keep listening in the background. That's the power of having video as a part of your show. Your audience, if they prefer video, they can watch it, or if they just want to listen, they can do that too. Now, it may seem daunting to have a video podcast or to do both, but there's a tool that makes it incredibly easy for both creating, recording, and editing your podcast. It's what I use every week to record Primary Technology, and that's Riverside. Every single episode of Primary Technology for the past year was totally recorded and edited using Riverside. It records in high quality, makes my editing super fast, and features like magic clips allow me to generate vertical videos in minutes so I can keep posting these to YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels. Here's my personal Riverside account with all the episodes of Primary Technology, and we record for about an hour and a half, and Riverside has AI tools that make the editing process super fast, like the full episode editor. I can click one button, Riverside's going to remove silences, filler words, format the video however I'd like, and just that quickly, I have my full episode edit ready to go. If I want, I can jump into the Riverside editor and make further changes. Editing is as easy as selecting text and just clicking delete. And Riverside even generated chapter markers automatically down here, which is great to use in YouTube. I can just click the three dots here, click copy chapters list, and I have those chapters on my clipboard. We also have a layout tool called Smart Scenes. And when you apply that, it's automatically going to focus on the active speaker, switching between my co-host, showing both of us on screen during those in-between moments of the conversation, and then focusing on a screen share or media board file when we showed that. Then we'll focus on me when I'm speaking. All of that did it automatically when I clicked that full episode generator. So this episode is basically ready to go. I can click export and export it up to 4K video quality. And that's the video I'm going to upload to the YouTube channel and Spotify for creators. Then I'll go back into Riverside, go down to Magic Clips and click generate. And that's going to create multiple vertical videos from that long form content. It's automatically going to add the animated captions, have me and my co-host side by side. It will focus on the active speaker to make it visually engaging. And it did all of that for me. This is a 54-second clip, perfect to share for shorts, and I can export this as well. Plus, Riverside makes it easy to create content with the devices you already have. You can use the Riverside app on iPhone, plug in a USB mic if you have it, or just use the built-in mic, and Riverside has a tool called Magic Audio, which will make that microphone sound studio quality. You can record with your iPad, your Android device. You can start for free with Riverside and the gear you have now. So no, it is not too late to start a podcast in 2025, so launch today. If you want to learn more about the entire process, I have a step-by-step video so you can start your video podcast today, and I explain everything. Check that video out right up here. Don't forget to subscribe to the Riverside channel and hit that like button, because we have more features that's going to make it even easier to create content long-term. If you have questions, leave comments below this video. I'll answer you personally. And if you want to see how you can use your iPhone just by itself to both record and edit content using the Riverside app, check out this video right up here. Thanks for watching. We can't wait to see what you create.